Hey everybody! Well, it looks like Russ Miller's back on YouTube. If you guys don't remember Russ Miller, aka Rustical, aka Russell Sprout, well, he started making videos again after a 2-year break, which is really exciting for me because some of you may remember he was one of my very favorite people to respond to. And the cool thing is, he's back with actual less factual information and less content than he had before. It's pretty funny, actually. I've been thoroughly enjoying his videos. They're shorter now. He has a few long ones, a few of his seminars, but most of his videos are 40-second to 1-minute clips, which is great for me because, as you guys know, I'm very long-winded. And I could probably respond to a 40-second video clip in under 45 minutes to an hour, right? So better for you, better for me, better for everybody. And this is what's also awesome. Looks like Russ Miller's back with a new look. He's changed his appearance. He's reinvented himself. And I got to say, Russ, if you happen to catch this, I like the new look a lot. It really suits you. And it gave me an idea. And you can use this if you want. Okay, this is an idea for a television program that I think is going to be a hit. Okay, let me outline the plot for you. It's up to you to flush it out further and maybe take it to Showtime or HBO or something like that. But here it is. So, a simple-minded Sunday school teacher, right, finds out he's got terminal taint cancer, right? So, no money to pay for his taint surgery. He approaches one of his former Sunday school students, and they decide that they could make up a whole bunch of crap and bullshit to get people to donate money to their organization, thereby raising the money to pay for his taint removal operation. See? It's pretty good, isn't it? In fact, I even went so far as to make you an intro. This is rough, of course. I figure if the storyline takes off, you'll be able to afford really good effects and everything like that. But check it out. Alright, in this clip, Russ is going to tell us all about how diamonds prove a young Earth. Some of you may have heard this claim before. It's circulated quite a bit over the last decade. Check it out.
But let me just mention diamonds. Did you know that diamonds have been tested for carbon-14? And the carbon-14, which is measured in carbon dating, should decay away in measurable amounts in less than 100,000 years. Well, a couple of years ago, they tested diamonds from 12 diamond mines around the globe, and we're told that these diamonds are billions of years old. All the diamonds still had carbon-14 in them, proving they could only be a few thousand years old. Diamonds are great proof of a young Earth.
Okay, Russenberg. Few problems with your proof of a young Earth using diamonds. You're talking about the RATE project, which I'll put a link down below, has been thoroughly dissected. Basically, it contains no useful information of any kind. This is you probably know this, but your audience doesn't know it, and of course that's your goal. In my opinion, maybe I'm wrong on that. You have yet to ever show me that because you're still repeating the same information that you admitted to me that you didn't quite know if it was right or wrong. And you're still using it in your new videos, so you obviously don't give a shit about factual information. Brief explanation here. Now, carbon-14 is measured using what's called an AMS, an accelerated mass spectrometer, which is an amazingly accurate device. It counts individual atoms of a substance you're trying to measure. This is amazing. Now, the problem with it is, of course, with carbon-14 dating, is that carbon-14 is in the atmosphere. Carbon-14, is everywhere. Very, very small amounts of it, but it still is everywhere. So, when these machines, especially as they age, they get used a lot, build up carbon-14 in the system itself. Now, the problem this presents is that the error margin of your sample you're dating gets larger and larger because of the fact that the machine itself, carbon-14, carbon, C12, C13, C14 residue inside the tubes themselves are blown onto the sample and are counted as if they were inside the sample. Now, scientists know this. People who work with this know that this occurs, and there are various ways of calibrating this because the machines are, even the components are unimaginably expensive and complex. So what one of the ways they do this is they use blanks. Now, a blank is you can purchase graphite pellets that are pure carbon 12. There's no carbon 14, no carbon 13 in these pellets, right? They're artificially produced, and those are a blank because then you can say how much carbon 14 is. When you run that sample, the machine says there's so many micrograms of carbon 14 per gram of carbon 12. And you know that that's not there, so you know that that's contamination from the machine itself, or contamination from the processing of the sample beforehand, because the chemicals themselves have carbon and carbon 14 in some of the chemicals. It's a way to increase your accuracy, and this is why C14 dating, the upper age limit for how old a sample we can measure, has increased over the last 20 years because of knowing these kinds of things. So when you take a sample with 0 carbon 14, you are always going to measure some carbon 14, even if it was, for a fact it was never there. Diamonds, naturally occurring diamonds, are a great way to basically use as blanks because we know they have no carbon 14 in them. If they were mined, obviously, if they're mined near uranium, that kind of thing, that can add C14 to the sample itself. But you want to measure the extrinsic, the amount of carbon 14 that's not contained in the sample that your machine is giving you, and then you can subtract that when you run another sample that you're trying to age and say, okay, this is the error margin, and you can remove that. It's a way to increase the accuracy. This is good science. It's science working. Now, years ago, the paper that was published, I wish I could find it, a paper was published, a method paper describing how to use diamonds as blanks in accelerated mass spectrometer to measure how much of the C14 contamination is going on in your system, in your individual system. That paper was picked up by ICR, Alpha and Omega Institute also. I heard a talk where they used this as well, and used as proof that, look, carbon 14 is in diamonds. Then, when the RATE project from ICR started up, they repeated this experiment themselves. They repeated this, and of course, again, as I said, there's always C14 in the sample. You're always going to have some amount, even if it's a minuscule amount, a few atoms of carbon 14 due to contamination, from your machine or from the chemical processes that are used beforehand. And they found exactly that same thing. However, they reported this low level of it rather than reporting it as contamination. They claimed no contamination and that this was actually in the diamonds themselves, even though the amount they got was exactly the same as you get from using a artificially produced blank. These guys are physicists. I understand, Russenberg, you're not a physicist and you may not know this. But these guys are physicists and they know better. They don't, like you, they don't give a shit. But nonetheless, they know that this is true. So the funny thing about it is that in RATE's own published paper, in their peer-reviewed Creation Science journal, they found that the diamonds, the same diamond, measured before processing and measured after processing had more carbon 14 in it. Now, what does that mean? That means that the processing itself added carbon 14 to it. They pretend that didn't happen, and they report that higher level of it rather than the level from the original unprocessed diamond. This is pretty amazing and pretty deceptive. And if you gave one tiny bit of a shit about accuracy, you would recognize this and you wouldn't go on using this claim. But like all the other claims that I've shown to you that were wrong in the past, you go on using them. So anyway, gonna have some fun over the next couple of months looking at Russ Miller videos as well as a few others. I'm still working on my other projects, so you guys take care and have a good day.